Hey y'all, how you doing?
I would think you'd be able to hear me with my big mouth, but I don't think so. You cannot if I leave it up there. You guys like my boots? I've gotten a lot of compliments on my boots. And I have fishing for a compliment. I haven't gotten a lot of compliments on my boots, but this one old man killed me. I was walking into the pizza place down there, and he's like, "Oh, I like your boots." I was like, "Thank you." And then he was like about 10 times saying, "You can leave the boots on. You can leave the boots on." And I'm thinking, first of all, I'm married, but in what world would this poor man ever be in that scenario? Oh, I giggled. He didn't think it was funny, but I don't know. But yeah, y'all didn't even notice. I cut like a foot off my hair and dyed it red. And when I went to my friend Laura's, well, that's not the punchline, but when I went to my friend Laura's, I knew she wasn't listening. I walked in and I could tell she don't listen good, but she wasn't listening. And I was there for a few minutes, and finally I said, you know, I whacked off like a foot off my hair and dyed it red, and you haven't even noticed. And she was like, "What'd you say you whacked off?" And I said, "I knew you weren't listening." I said, "I whacked a foot off my hair and dyed it red." And she goes, "Did you say you whacked off?" And I was like, "I knew you weren't listening." Really. And Christina knows I'm not lying because she lives, that's her upstairs neighbor.
True word.
Yeah, but Laura don't listen good, and oh God, I don't even want to go down that track because I'm going in a different direction here. But I was going to talk about neighbors. I was going to talk about I used to have these two girls that were neighbors of mine, and they had to be anorexic. They looked like Holocaust survivors, and I was thinking, you know, it would be, if anorexia was contagious and you could just like hang out with them for the weekend and lose a few pounds, that might be all right. But the other neighbor that lived on the other side of me was like 300 pounds, and she's always bragging about being a vegetarian. And so I realized that I was going to have to be the one to tell her that a Twinkie wasn't a vegetable, you know. How do you weigh 300 pounds when you're a vegetarian? I don't know. I don't know if I have time to tell the Maytag repairman story, but my husband is cheap. He hates to pay for anything. He usually fixes stuff himself. And we had this washing machine that's about 45 years old because it belonged to his mother, and I actually love that washing machine. And it quit working. My husband actually called a Maytag repairman. So the kid came out, he's about 19 or 20, and he laughed so hard, laughed in my husband's face. He goes, "I can't get parts for that. That thing's 45 years old. You need to get a new washer, you know." So my husband got another washer and dryer, and after a couple of weeks, I didn't want to say anything, but I hated it. And after a couple of weeks, he said, "Well, how do you like the new washer?" And I said, "I hate it." And he said, "Oh, good, I hate it too." So I kept the dryer, but I said, "How am I going to sell this washer?" I said, "I gave it away for free on Craigslist. What am I going to do? Say, I hate it, it sucks, do you want to buy it?" You know, I mean, I couldn't even, I hated not to get his money back. Anyway, so I'll get right to the point, maybe. I came home from work one night, and I noticed that the washer that I hated was out in the driveway, and the old washer that the guy said it couldn't be fixed was working, was in the laundry room working. And it turns out my husband had made a part for it. But what cracked me up is when I went in, he had put a Post-it on his hat that said Maytag repairman. The real Maytag repairman laughed at him, laughed really hard. And I was like, I can't get parts for that. Anyway. Thank y'all. I love you.
Woo! That's right.